Hello, beautiful souls. It's Stephanie Levinston. It's cool by Florida standards in this moment and comfortable outside, nice and cloudy. The sun is down, well, not going down. And so I just had to get outdoors because it's not terribly comfortable to do so most of the time here. Oops, sorry. Just trying to straighten out this camera. Anyway, I was at Costco today, and I go with some frequency. I joined maybe like 4 years ago, which is astonishing, isn't it? I felt like the absolute last of my friends and acquaintances to create a membership at Costco. Maybe it's even been 5 years, but I had this notion in my mind of what Costco was. And so I stayed away from it. It sort of like felt to me like it would be, I don't know, something about it would be wasteful, or buying stuff in that much quantity, that much amount would be wasteful. And so I didn't go there. And for so long, I missed out because I got to tell you this, I love Costco. Now that I have joined and do my shopping there quite a bit, and I have so many family events that we host from my home, and so we feed a lot of people, a lot, and that is such a great place. Costco is such a great place to go when you're having a party. So many bugs out here. I'm gonna pretend like they're not bothering me. I'm gonna pretend like I can just be zen out in nature, and I'm gonna pretend like hearing my neighbor talking on the phone just on the other side of this tree is not bothering me. I'm just gonna pretend all of that right now. So, getting back to Costco. What I love about it is that you can buy organic fruit and vegetables in big quantities, because my family goes through a lot of that stuff. You can get all kinds of, like I buy my organic chia seeds from there, organic hemp seeds I get there, organic ground flax seeds. There's so much good, delicious, healthy food that you can buy at Costco in big, huge packages, which makes sense. Big bags of walnuts and almonds and you name it. A huge thing of vanilla extract. So I love it. I love Costco. Here's my struggle. When I go, what I'm aware of when I am making my purchases is how much packaging is involved. And that just keeps coming back to my awareness now that I am trying to do a better job of not bringing more things into my home that either create trash or that have to be recycled, because the point isn't really to recycle more. The point is to use less things that require recycling and use less things that create trash. So I have a hard time with this as I'm buying my containers of, organic blueberries, and they're in plastic, and as I buy my frozen fruit and it's in plastic bags, and as I buy anything, it requires packaging. So what am I supposed to do about that? So I'm aware that I'm definitely not following along with where I would really like to be in terms of that piece of it. Then something else happens as I sit in the checkout line. And we observe what's in everybody else's baskets, and I see people buying bottled water, which is fine. I don't have a judgment against it. I wish that we could all feel safe with the water that we drink that comes from our faucets, that we wouldn't feel like we have to buy bottled water, because I see like these pallets of like 50 or 100 cases of bottles of water, and I know that a lot of that ends up not being recycled, and I know that a lot of that ends up in our oceans. And so it makes me a little bit crazy in the head as I'm looking around and I'm seeing all of these purchases of single-use bottles of water. The other thing that makes me a little crazy is you can get your paper products there as well. So paper towels and toilet paper and tissues, etc. Hey, Marnie. And it makes me crazy, and I get judgy with myself because I'm not judging what anybody else is purchasing. I'm just wishing that people knew more about these products. So for example, when you go and you buy your paper towels at Costco, I have not seen any that are recycled. I have not seen any recycled toilet paper either. Marnie, this is such a dull topic. Wonder what you'll think of it. And so in my heart, I actually feel like this constriction about if people knew that these paper products are made with bleaches, which is really bad for your body, and those places that we use toilet paper, that's where you want some real clean and clear and non-bleach products on your body, just because of we're sensitive and got to be careful what we put on our body, in our body, etc. So I see these paper products, I see the toilet paper rolls and the paper towel rolls, and I think of all the bleach that was involved in manufacturing those. I think of all the trees that are used in manufacturing those. And we're not talking recycled fibers here. We're talking new trees, new growth trees, fresh trees. And part of me, each and every time, yeah, go ahead and listen, Marnie. You'll see if it's a topic you're interested in. There's a part of me that Deborah says, yes, it's terrible, bleach in the toilet paper. I know. Good. Okay, so I'm not the only one. I figure if I talk about my crazies a lot more frequently, then I'm just giving other people permission to feel their crazies as well, and we can just form one big crazy loving group and normalize all of it. Good. Thank you, Deborah. So what should we do? Well, I'm glad you asked, Deborah, because I have here a paper towel roll, and it's made by a company called Who Gives a Crap. Okay, so you gotta love a company with that name, right? And it is made from bamboo. Bamboo is a renewable fiber. There's no bleach used in the processing of it. There are no chemicals used in the processing of it. And it's totally a renewable resource. So this is what we do about it. This is when I'm feeling this urge as I'm standing in line at Costco and I'm seeing these baskets filled with these products. I want to start teaching. There's this part of me that says, tell that darling elderly lady next to you who is buying this stuff probably because she's always bought it and doesn't know what's in it. Can we flush it? No, you don't want to flush paper towels. But, Deborah, they have a toilet paper made of bamboo. And yes, you can flush that. God, I hope you can, right? Because if we couldn't flush toilet paper, I think we would all be in big trouble. So this whogivesacrap.us.org, I believe, is the website. I will pin it here afterwards, post it here. But yeah, so this is the answer. This is an answer. This is a good, really good, solid option. Paper towels, toilet paper made of bamboo. They also make tissues. Oh, you're excited, Deborah? Girl, I just love you. I'm so glad. Good. So I get excited about this stuff too. The other thing is this company, Who Gives a Crap, when you purchase from them, they use some of their proceeds to build toilets in underserved, like in developing areas, so that don't have good sanitation in the U.S. and also in other countries. So this is a good company. It's a good deed, and it's a good quality toilet paper. Hi, Joanne. But when you do go online to order it, they have two kinds of the toilet paper. They have recycled, which I don't recommend. I've tried it. Not going to go into any details. That's not necessary. Hey, Amanda. But they're bamboo. Get the bamboo toilet paper. You will love it. And I'm going to tell you guys something else. You're going to think I've really gone off my rocker. I give these away as parting gifts when I have gatherings at my house. So I keep a big box of them by so when the delivery is made, sometimes I'll keep that box by my front door. And at the last gathering I had, as people were leaving, I would just reach in the box and say, here's a roll of toilet paper for you. Let me know how you like it. I was at my aunt's house yesterday, and I was in her guest bathroom, using the bathroom, and I saw the roll of toilet paper that I gave her, and I got so excited. I came out and I said, that's so, Amanda says, that's so smart. Laura has been referring me to bamboo products in general. It's such a good, yes, go bamboo. This is so great that you guys are even interested in listening, because here's what my mind says when I stand, when I'm waiting at Costco and I'm up in my head. My mind says, oh, thanks for all the hearts, Amanda. My mind says, don't lecture people on this. Who wants to have a conversation about toilet paper? And don't tell that poor old lady that she shouldn't buy this, the product that she's buying, because what if she really likes it? But I just feel like when we know better, when we know that we have different options, better options, then we can choose that. And you guys are telling me, like, this is exciting to you to even learn about this. So maybe next time I'm at Costco, I will have the guts to speak up, because I do engage in conversation with fellow shoppers at Costco. They might ask me what's, if I'm buying something they've not seen before, they might ask me if I like that or what that's about. So Amanda says, we can talk about it and help. You never lecture, you just share. Oh, thank you. I really hope that's how it comes across when I'm doing it randomly at the grocery store. Good. Okay, well, this is solidifying something for me to keep spreading my message. And my message is today about paper products, toilet paper, saving trees, saving the planet, promoting a company that is doing a really great job. So anyways, yes, we will. Let's talk about that, Deborah. So I give these as parting gifts, and it's so funny. One time this past soccer season, I don't know what made me think to do this, but I stuffed a bunch of these in one of my reusable shopping bags. I was at the soccer fields watching my kids play soccer, and gave some of these away at the soccer fields. I think it was mostly to people that I knew. But we took pictures of me with my in-laws, giving them their toilet paper rolls, and we just had the greatest giggle about it, because we all use toilet paper. And so anyways, my aunt is loving this. I'm gonna just start giving her rolls, because I have boxes delivered. You can get this delivered to you monthly, which is another thing that I think about in Costco. When I see this sweet old lady with her packages, I think if she knew that she could get set up online to have these products delivered to her front door and didn't even have to venture out of her house to get it. Isn't it so much nicer to have your toilet paper just delivered to you, or your paper towels or whatever, and knowing that it's doing so much better for the planet? I hear creepy crawlies in the bushes. So anyways, that's my thing about Costco. I get heavy-hearted about the packaging, and I get heavy-hearted about the products that nobody's questioning, because they've always bought the same thing and they just like it. And when I go up to that headspace of mine that says nobody's going to want to hear what you have to say about this, or they're going to feel like you're pushy, that is actually something that holds me back, is this concern that I will come across as pushy. Because I'm pushy. I know that I have strong opinions. I know that I have a strong stand in a lot of different things, and that people-pleasing side of myself that wants people to like and understand and accept what I'm saying, or me in general, really goes into battle with the part of myself that says, but this is important, and this is also part of your message. My message is not just spirit, because it's impossible to separate spirit from toilet paper. Did you all know that? I hope I get quoted on that. That's a tweetable moment. You cannot separate spirit from toilet paper because of the interconnectedness that are all things living, right, Amanda? See all your thumbs up. Amanda says it's the little things that make all the difference. Yes, and Deborah says let's talk about water filtration. So, yeah, okay, let's talk about that. I have a whole house water filter that we have been using for the last 11 years that I'm pretty happy with. However, something recently, it's so weird that you said that, Deborah, because last week I started to think, hey Fran, it's all packaging, and do not get me started on styrofoam. No, I know. Okay, so Fran, I have a funny story for you. Fran is a fabulous, fabulous Montessori teacher who taught my children when they were in her school. And so styrofoam, we were about a month ago, in June, around my daughter's bat mitzvah, we went out to eat at a local Greek restaurant. And they brought our leftovers in styrofoam containers. And I'm really bad at this, but I'm working on it. Took me a while, I now do it all the time, but it took me a while to remember to bring my reusable grocery bags to the grocery store with me. I've been doing that for years and years and years though, but initially creating a new habit takes time, right? So that took me a while to remember that. What's taking me a while to remember now is to remember to bring my own take-home containers for leftover food, because we cannot recycle the styrofoam, right? And it breaks my heart too. It sickens me, actually, every time I have to put my leftovers in that kind of container. So we're at this Greek restaurant, and they bring the containers, and because of how I share my opinions, my children were very upset about these styrofoam containers. My daughter, who's 13, wrote a letter to the manager of the restaurant, and then actually went up to the manager as we were leaving and read her letter aloud to him. And I'm not going to pretend that I was so comfortable and great with this. There was a part of me that felt a huge part of me that felt totally proud of her, and that she had the guts to write that, and then she had the guts to share it. But I will tell you that I made my husband go up and stand with her as she spoke to the manager, because I don't know. I just felt really unsure. I didn't know how it was going to be received. I stood within earshot and viewing, but I didn't feel totally comfortable like going up and yay, right? Going up as she shared her letter. And her letter said, I noticed that you have styrofoam containers. Do you know how bad these are for the planet? They can never be recycled. The way that they're made releases gases. You know, she did the whole thing. Amanda says, parenting win. Yes, right. So she shares it with him, and he's got this very stoic expression while she's reading her letter to him. And I'm trying to discern if he's going to receive this well, or if he's going to feel offended by it. And when she's done, he says to her, if you can find something better, then show me. Tell me it, and I'll look into buying that, which is probably the absolute best, aside from him saying you're right and I'm going to go ahead and switch right now, probably the best response that we could have anticipated, because he was open and he was listening. And so this reminder for me, and thank you, Fran, for even bringing it up, because it reminds me we have to go back to that store, to that restaurant, and show him his other options. We did a little bit of research on it, but we didn't cover, all the options. And obviously, he's opting for the least expensive. And this is what people who own businesses do, right? We have to save where we can save and spend where it makes sense to invest. And so your take-home packaging is the first thing I would imagine that a restaurant owner would cut costs on. It makes sense. It just doesn't make sense for the long term. It doesn't make sense for the health of the planet or for the health of the people. So that I'm just making a mental note to myself that we have to circle back to that and complete what we started, because to write a letter and say, this isn't good, we don't like that you use this product, and then walk away and never return when he gave us that opening to show me what's better, we need to show him what's better. So, okay, awesome. And then Amanda, you said, I'll never forget when you told me advocating for animal welfare was standing out as something in my heart, and I'm constantly thinking about the animals and lecturing on animal care all the time nowadays. Oh, okay, water filtration and foam. Yeah, so exactly. Amanda, this is why I share my discomfort, because I know I'm not alone in it, and I know that this is what silences so many of us. And it silences, I think, us as women as a gender more frequently, because people give permission and have the expectation that men will be more outspoken, and that's somehow more tolerated and accepted by society. And so I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you reminding me of that, because those areas that touch our heart, those areas that feel important to us, are important for a reason. It's not just individual preference. We can't just brush it off like that. The things that touch us deeply, the things that move us into action or move us into the desire to be in action, even if we don't know what that action is, they're important. They go beyond us. They ripple out in huge, huge ways. So I am so glad, Amanda, that you are lecturing, if we can call it that you are teaching, that you are sharing on animal welfare, because as you know, that is something very close to my heart as well. And it's time. We can't just sit and watch anymore. We can't just observe as other people make choices that are harmful or damaging. And I'm not saying like that choosing a different toilet paper is harmful or damaging, but yeah, I am kind of saying that. You see what goes on in my head? I'm not saying that, but yeah, I am. I don't want to say this out loud, but yes, I do need to say this out loud. I'm not comfortable sharing, this aspect of myself, but yeah, I'm going to do it anyways. So anyways, water filtration. I'm not an expert. Years and years ago, I did some research on whole house water filters, because I knew that's what we were going to put, on our home. And I chose something called the Aquasana. I don't know if it's a great filter anymore. And when I was at Costco, I saw that they have the guy, they have people standing there and they're like, get your free, well, this one was saying, get your water tested for free. And I thought that's probably a really good idea, because I've been drinking this for many years, but how do I know that it's really pulling out the chlorine that it says it's pulling out? And how do I know that it's of the quality it needs to be? So that's another thing for my to-do list. Check my water quality and see if the filter is actually doing what it's supposed to be doing. Deborah, I'm curious, if you are still here, do you have a water filtration system that you recommend? Because we got to be careful, right, about everything. Water, our bodies need water in enormous amounts, and what we put in has to be really clean, really good for us. Amanda says, OMG, that's awesome. What a difference she made. Yeah, my daughter, that was. It's scary to talk to your friends or strangers in educating them about conscious choices that touch your heart. The fear of offending them is great, but almost every time I've spoken up, it's made some difference. Yes, yes, yes. Amanda also says, I've been learning about this with my employer being in real estate, about value added to homes when they have air and water filtration. Brilliant. I could see that. I would be much more interested in a home knowing that the previous owners took excellent care of their health, and the way to know that is by what they put in their home. Their air filtration, their water filtration. Deborah says, oi, it's so hard to think of everything. Right. And Deborah says, no, I need a water filtration. I need one ASAP. Yeah, so let me tell you guys something I've been watching lately that you might really want to get in on. There's this guy his name is Chris Wark, W-A-R-K. He is running a free like series, 14-day or 21-day series of videos that are part of his like healing from cancer program. The reason I'm watching it is because I'm always into health and food as medicine. I also, unfortunately and quite sadly, have some people in my life that are very, very close to me who have serious cancer diagnoses right now. And so I'm trying to do the research and the learning to understand better how I can support them. And you know what's so interesting is that I'm in this same quandary. I want to share what I'm learning, and I'm worried about being pushy, because I know that what we choose to eat is a deeply personal choice. And what I'm learning about how powerful food can be as a part of health, wellness, healing, return to well-being, it's so important. And I don't want to push it on these loved ones who are already dealing with a lot. And yet I feel like this might be a key to their wellness and their well-being and their return to health. And so I'm in this conversation again. Share what you're learning, but I don't want to sound pushy. It's important to share what is important to you and what's exciting to you and what is new information to you, because it will probably be new to them as well. But they're already so overburdened, right? It's this back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So I'm going to recommend to you all that you watch some of these videos. I actually ended up buying his program because I want to be able to go back and watch all of these videos again. They are mind-blowing, fantastic information, and I'll just give you a little bit of a feel. I've watched the first 4 modules. And what is the name of his? Oh, it's called Chris Beat Cancer, and his website is chrisbeatcancer.com. Check him out. He's got 1,000 videos on YouTube that you can watch for free too, with all this good information. And he talks about how food that is whole, that comes from the earth, that is organic, right? Because pesticides are a problem, and they're cancer causing, as we know. But food that is whole from the earth is good. This is what we want to just be ingesting and ingesting and ingesting and ingesting. This guy, he healed his cancer 14 years ago without chemotherapy and without radiation. And chemotherapy and radiation were 2 things that his doctors said, you will need these and you are crazy if you do not do this. You'll be dead. Well, here he is, alive, and he's healthy and he's strong and he's delightful, and his energy and his vitality are amazing, and he's got a beautiful family, wife, kids, everything that they said he would not have, because he was diagnosed with either stage 3 or stage 4 colon cancer. And he healed with food. He totally radically changed his diet and his lifestyle. And he's got me pumped up just to do this for me, but also when I'm feeling courageous and brave to share that with others. He talks about different recipes of smoothies that he makes. He juices a lot. I love your outdoor videos. This is 100% the ideal setup. I know. And do you love this too? Because I was set up in front of my grapefruit tree before I started the video, and she's not well. She's sick and she's a little twiggy, and it just kind of made me look like I had twigs coming like out of my head. And I thought, well, if I could pick colors, these are so pretty. I don't know what these are called, this particular plant, but with all the bright colors. Thanks, Amanda. So back to Chris Wark. Brilliant information that he is putting out there, and he's so practical with all of it. So you know what I did, y'all? I pulled my juicer back out. That thing has been collecting dust for like a year. Pulled the juicer back out, started juicing again. I make smoothies all the time, but I went to Costco today and got a whole bunch of organic spinach to put in my smoothies. My family is committing to trying to go vegetarian. I don't really eat hardly any animals at all. I don't remember the last time I had that, but I also feel like I don't, it's such a personal choice. I don't want to impose it on my family, and yet, yes, I do. I do want to impose it on my family because it's better for the planet, it's better for the environment, it's better for our bodies, better for the animals. But he just did a discussion last night on if you are going to eat meat, how much of it to eat and how to buy it. So he said it should be kosher because of the way that it is processed and more of the humane way, and it should be organic and free range and all this stuff, which it's not. Not all stores are carrying that. Very few are. Whole Foods does sometimes, but we just decided let's pull all recipes this week that are going to be vegetarian, and let's give it a go. And so we're gonna keep moving in that direction. But my youngest, my 10-year-old, he decided, and this is what inspired me. He said about a couple weeks ago, I want to just go vegetarian. I don't want to have any animals anymore. And I said, oh my gosh, me too. Let's do it together. And you know what? It's so crazy because even this morning, I forgot, because you get in the habit. And with his breakfast, I gave him like a couple turkey slices that we had in the fridge, and he forgot, and he took a bite of it, and he remembered right away, and he was devastated. He left the breakfast area, he went into his room, he put the pillow over his head, and I was like, oh buddy, I don't want you to feel like that about food. That was my mistake. I accidentally gave you that. I just totally forgot because of the habit, because of what we're used to doing, and we're creating a new habit. It takes a little while for it to take root. And then we moved out of it, we moved through it, and he's fine. But it just reminded me to stay alert to these things that we commit to. There just seems to be so much to keep track of sometimes. Deborah says, I love that. Organic is so important. The animals know what's going on when they go. I know. You know what? I can't talk about it because it's too heavy for me. I start to feel like that empathic experience. And so I don't know if I'll make it to vegan. I really don't know. But for right now, I'm going to try to do a detox. This is something that Chris Beat Cancer is talking about as well. Our bodies can process the food that we eat. And I'm using the term food very loosely because a lot of what we eat is very processed and packaged and isn't real food. It can process that because the body can adapt. But he said we really need to detoxify from what we've been asking the body to do for so long. For how many years have I been eating processed foods as well? I'm not going to feel like shame about it or guilt about it. It is what it is. As far as processed food goes, I try to choose the healthier of the processed foods. But his whole point is, if it's man-made, it doesn't belong in your body. He said what God put on the earth to grow for us and sustain us in terms of fruits and vegetables and grains, that's meant to be in our bodies. So I am inspired. I'm inspired to make shifts and changes in the way I eat, in the way I source my own body, in the way I feed my family, and yes, in the way I talk and share it with others as well. Deborah says, no, let's talk about toilet paper and Chris. I know. Yes, so we're going to stick with that. We are going to stick with that. I just want to make sure. Oh, Amanda sent all these great pictures of fruits and veggies. Oh, did you guys, I want to share one more thing before I hop off and go into my vegetarian dinner tonight, which my husband is cooking. God bless him. I joined this so I've been part of a community-supported agriculture program for the last little while, not like maybe a year or so. And I love community-supported agriculture. It's so important. It's a way to support our local farmers in what they grow seasonally. And this is an organic one, and they deliver it right to my door. And I order my eggs from their farm as well, and it just feels really good. But the growing season in Florida does not extend through the summer. It's non-existent, it's too hot here, and it's so wet and humid, and things don't grow very easily. So we've had this span of some months without the food delivery. So I've gotten my stuff from the grocery stores. And then I came across this thing called Hungry Harvest. Check them out. Basically, it is a food rescue. So you guys know, Amanda, how I feel about animal rescues and how important it is to adopt your animals and not purchase them. But now there's a food rescue where all the foods that the stores will not sell because they might be a little misshapen or a little too small, or the store places an order and then they realize last minute that they over ordered and so they cancel the order. Guess what happens to all that food? It goes in the landfill. It goes in the landfill unless an organization comes by and scoops it up and then uses it to donate it, and that's happening more and more often, but not nearly enough. Millions and millions of pounds of good, healthy food go into the trash, go into our landfill because they are deemed unsellable by the grocery stores. This is hurting farmers, this is hurting the planet, this is hurting those that are going hungry. So this group, Hungry Harvest, grabs up that produce and they sell it, and they use part of their proceeds to also donate to those that cannot afford, those that live in, what's it called, like there's a word for it when you can't, because the processed foods are junk and so they're usually cheap. And that's what people who do not have sufficient money can afford to buy. The fresh produce is expensive, and therefore it's prohibitive for those that live in food. It's not food poor. There's like, if you guys know the word I'm thinking of, just type it in there. I don't know why it's evading me, but whatever. So they take some of what they gather and they donate it, and then they take some of what they what they rescue, and people like me buy it. And so now, since I don't have the CSA delivering, I got my first delivery this Saturday, and they bring eggs, and there was green peppers and oranges and pears and apples and greens and carrots. Endless. It was a huge box. You can order however much you want. And they have conventionally grown, and they also have organically grown. And then you can add on, like there were grapes in there, and I added in some blackberries because they had a surplus of blackberries from a store that canceled their order. So it's kind of a joke. I have 3 rescued dogs, and I have a fridge full of rescued food. Isn't that cool? And Amanda says, for some reason, all of this makes me think. I've been wondering about dog poop bags. Yeah. When you leave the excrement, the plants grow. But the apartments push all these plastic bags, hundreds of bags a day for concealing something that heals the earth. I wonder if there's an alternative to that. Okay, well, I can speak to a little bit of experience in that realm because I pick up a shitload of poop every day. I have a big dog, a medium dog, and a small dog, and the food that I feed them goes right through and produces lovely poops, but I'm picking up literally like 9 to 12 poops a day. So I have tried the bags that say that they are earth friendly, that say that they're like compostable maybe. And they are expensive, by the way. But I'm thinking, well, if it's better for the planet, I'll try it. My brother-in-law told me, I don't know if this is correct or not, but he does research on a number of things. He said it makes no sense to buy those kinds of bags because where they're getting disposed of when we throw them in the landfill, which is where they go, their ability to break down is really not an asset in a landfill because it's not able to nourish the earth. So you're right, Amanda. I know that if we were to, I don't know, maybe hose it down or something so it's not like so unpleasant, people don't step in it, it doesn't smell bad, etc., that it could be nourishing to the earth in that way. But we also have to keep the areas clean, right? And nobody likes to walk around or have their child playing around in an area where there's all this dog poop. Yeah, I'm glad you asked too. So don't spend too much. Food desert. Thank you, Fran. That would have bothered me tonight. Food deserts, where the people who in certain areas cannot afford to pay for fresh produce because of how the prices are. So going back to poop, yeah, I've tried both, and now I am back to using all the plastic, which I hate. I hate picking up with plastic bags. Ooh, mosquitoes are out, guys. I'm gonna cut this short. I hate mosquitoes. That is one bug I will not tell you not to squish. Go ahead and squish the mosquitoes. So I don't know what to do about that. I know that there are also companies, like there's a local company called scoopdapoo.com, and they will come to your house and pick up all your dog stuff, and they have a special, I think, solution that they put it in that breaks it down. I don't just think they throw it in the landfill. And then some people have in their backyards like a container that also has there's a solution in it, some kind of a liquid that breaks down, and with enzymes, etc., that breaks it down, and then that can be returned to the earth and be as a fertilizer. I was wondering, because I have a composter that I use, and I was wondering, can you compost animal waste? Does it help things break down? And I was told, no, do not do that. That will ruin your compost, and actually, I don't want that on my plants anyways, if I'm honest. And I use the juice from the composter and the stuff on my garden, and I don't want my dog's poop on my garden. Yes, enzymes. Hey, Susie. Yeah, so you know what, Amanda? Paper bags. So Cesar Millan, I love him. I love his work. He's the dog whisperer. He's out in California. Okay, someone's having fun. And I have seen him cleaning up after dogs using a paper bag. So I think you can do that. And I think that is probably much, much better for the earth, especially if they're recycled paper bags. I'm gonna tell you guys something really gross that I do, as long as we're talking about poop. Haha, poo and toilet paper and healing and everything in between, right? Exactly. So because I'm using plastic bags to clean up after my dogs, and because there's so much to clean up after every day, I do this thing where I reuse the bag. So I don't reuse it for other things. It's only used for their waste. But, oh, bamboo paper, that's a good idea. But I will, if I walk all 3 dogs at once and they all go, I try to use one bag for all of that, because it makes me crazy when my kids or my husband just use one bag per poop, because you can fit, first of all, you can fit more than that in one bag. And so why be wasteful with plastic when I don't even really want to be using plastic in the first place? So this is like a way for me to feel a little bit better. I will sometimes, if there's room in the bag, I will tie it and leave it in a very special undisclosed location by my house, so that the next time I go to walk my dogs, I just pick up that bag and use it again. Do you guys think that's gross? I know my kids are like, we are not doing that, Mom. That's pretty disgusting. Whatever. It doesn't really matter if you think it's gross or not. That's what I'm going to do, because it's how I can feel a little bit better about using plastic. Amanda says, I have found immense value in this talk. I am so glad, girl. You crack me up. It is strategic. It's totally strategic. And, I've had to find some clever places to hide these bags, because at first I didn't bother hiding them when I was going to reuse them. And then people would come over and there'd be like this dog bag in my front porch. And I guess I started to feel really embarrassed about that, or just really aware that that's not really very pleasant to come to someone's house and see that, even though it's tied up and whatever. So that's how I'm currently addressing the issue. Amanda, if you find anything awesome in terms of doggy cleanup bags, or you hear about that, what's the best thing to do, let me know, because I always want to do better. When we know better, we do better, and we can all do better. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. Deborah says, this was the best conversation. Oh, I'm so glad. I really am so glad. Because before I came on to do the live stream, and I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, this side of my mind was like, don't talk about that. No one wants to hear about toilet paper and your problems with Costco packaging and blah, blah, blah. And this side of my brain was like, well, you're going to talk about whatever flows. And so here we go. Oh, bye guys.